Uddharetatmanatmanam natmanam avasadaye Atmaiva yatmano bandhu Atmaiva ripuratmana Karmanyevadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturvhu ma te sangosta karmani yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhoshi tadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam ananyas chintayanto mam ye janar paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma sruja mokshayishyami ma sruja Harihi Om. We're doing the fourth verse, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. In the Gita, actually the Gita is a treatise on universal laws. So the first thing Gita tells us is facts. Often we think of religion as do's and don'ts, but very few do's and don'ts. Even the do's and don'ts are not do's and don'ts in the way that we would normally think of them. So first thing Gita tells you is facts, such as it is inevitable we're all going to die. Fact. Desire causes restlessness in the mind. Fact. Anger is the gateway to hell. Fact. It's not, these are just, and then once we understand them, we can use it to guide our thinking or to make sense of things. Okay? So sometimes people will get very worried in a situation where it's not necessarily something that warrants that much worry. But naturally, we are loved, we love, and we are attached. And so sometimes we can get very worried. So I will ask when they are worried, what are you worried about? And somebody is sick. So what are you worried about? There can be only two outcomes. They are fine or they're not fine. So what are you worried about? Naturally, that they're not fine. If they're not fine, there can be only two outcomes. They'll get better or they won't. But that's what there is to worry about. Okay, let's say they're not going to get better. So they will go through the disease and the last result, death. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Can you escape it? Can anyone else escape it? It's a fact. At some point, it's going to happen. But it shouldn't happen now. Who said? Who decided it shouldn't happen now? Me. And what made you authority? Absolutely nothing. That's all Gita is saying. It's a bit heartless, Swamini. Not me. Gita is saying that. Still very heartless. It's more heartless to think otherwise. Because if I don't accept it and I fight the whole time, how difficult my life is. It's a fact. So if I accept it, there will be sorrow, but it won't be as difficult as me fighting with something I can never win. Which one's more heartless? Truth seems harsh, but actually, truth gives us one, clarity, and two, strength. So the clarity bit was evident in my questioning, right? The strength comes when I can do something, then strength is doing it. And when I can't do something, doing takes away strength. When I can't do something, then strength comes from acceptance. Let's give super easy example. Easy word is important. If it's raining, I had planned one very nice big birthday party on the beach, and now it's raining. So sure, I can get umbrellas, I can build tent, I can get whole crew to come in raincoats and have that party. Or except it's raining. It's not going to be a beach party. Have it inside. This y'all agree with me 100%? But when it's death, y'all don't agree with me. Accept. And then you can't just change venue when you accept in death. We change mindset. And in that mindset comes strength. So Gita gives us truth, and then that truth gives us clarity and gives us strength. So we know how to. So then Gita gives us wise men do X, foolish men do Y. So wise men will act without attachment. Foolish men, women also, act with attachment. That's all it says. Now, what you want to make out of it, you decide. You decide if you want to be wise or otherwise. Most of Gita is that. Wise people do this, unwise people do this. But then there's a bit of Gita that says, if X, then I promise to give Y. If you act without attachment, I free you from karma. Who's I? Krishna. Right? And this verse, Ananyas Chintayantoma, is one of those statements. Karmanyevadikaraste was one of the rare instructions. This is the gist of Karma Yoga. This is the best way to act. Yat karoshi yadashnasi. Again, if you act this way, you will be free. But here, this verse of the Gita is very, very popular. I was doing a satsang a few weeks ago, and I had said, Swamiji wants every Hindu to know these 5 verses. Do you all know any verse of the Gita? And interestingly, they all shook their head, huh? And then maybe 1 or 2 of them put their hands up, but most of them shook their head. So then I was saying, these are the 5 verses. And I didn't do the whole verse. I just did Udaretatmanat, and I gave the gist. Karmanyavadi Karis, I gave the gist. Yet Karoshi, I gave the gist. And then I said, Ananya's Chinta, and they chanted the whole verse. But when I said, do you all know verses of the Gita? They didn't put their hands up, because sometimes people don't know where it originates from. But half the room knew the verse. Why? Because this verse, Krishna says, I will look after you. Yogak Shemam Vahamya. So we need to look after 2 things. We need to look after all the things we need to get for ourselves. I need to get food. I need to get cleaning. What I can't think of what I need. Except for food, what we need? Sleep. Okay, I'll give you sleep. But actually, in today's world, we need mobile phone, and then we need Wi-Fi to be working, or flash to be working. It's not working at the moment. And then the second thing is, I have things and I need to look after it. So I have roof over my head, I need to look after it. I have clothes that keep me warm, I need to look after it. Most of us have mobile phone, I need to be able to look after it. Monthly subscriptions, need to be able to look after it. So what I need to acquire and what I need to maintain, yoga and Shema. Vahamyaha, I'll take care of it. Krishna is promising. I'll take care of it. Yoga, Kshema, Mahamyaha. So we think, yay, awesome. Krishna's got this. Wait, that's the last bit of the verse. You have to hear the first bit of the verse. The first bit is, Ananyas Chintayanto Ma. Whose yoga and Shema will he look after? Ananyas Chintayanto Ma. Those who think of me, Ananya. I love this word. Gurudev named many people Ananya. So much nicer than some of the names today people do with just fancy fusion names. Anya, other. Ananya, no other. One who has no otherness. So nice, no? But here it's Ananya Chinta. No otherness in my thinking. Ma, those who think of me continuously, or those who have no otherness in their thinking of me. Krishna said, Ananyas Chintayanto Ma. Ye Janar Paryupasate. This is worship. Paryupasate is worship. When people worship me this way, which way? Where they are thinking of me continuously. Tesham Nitya Biyukta Na. Then also, not just that you keep thinking of me, you have to also be self-controlled. This is the deal breaker. We'll come to it. Those people, I look after their yoga and their Shem. Whatever they have to acquire, I'll take care of it. Whatever they have to maintain, I'll take care. So, there's so many stories. I think I've mentioned Ramana Maharishi. He used to be in Samadhi. I think his longest stretch in Samadhi was 8 months. There are people who have been in Samadhi longer than 8 months, and maybe even Ramana Maharishi was longer, but this bit's documented. So he went to Arunachala Mandir, and there people used to throw things at him because he would be sitting meditating and, other kids, because he was a kid. When he went to the mandir, he was a kid. So other kids thought it was, entertaining. So he went into the basement. And even in the basement, people kept coming and finding him, and he would hear noise and then rats or whatever, whatever. So he finally left and he went and sat in it was some fruit grove, orchards. There were just all these trees, and then nobody went there. Farmland. And he went into meditation and he went into samadhi. So samadhi means he's not even in his body. So the body becomes jada. But now the body has some basic requirement to sustain itself, which is water. Yeah. Food you don't really need, but water we need. You think we can last a week or so without water? Something like that. Not even 3 days. But I think if you're in samadhi, little bit the rules change. But I don't know exactly. So there was a lady who used to, like a worker in the forest grove, in the fruit, in that orchard. Maybe she was tasked with taking out weeds or something like that. She was a worker. She sees him meditating, and she's realized that this must be some great person meditating, and he's not moved for however many number of days. So she'd take a teaspoon of water and she'd feed it to him. And half would go in and half would slip out because he's not in his body. He's not reacting and swallowing. And so she'd pour 2 spoons, 3 spoons of water into his mouth, like a mother. Every 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. And so for 8 months, he was in samadhi and he wasn't looking after his body. But some lady who doesn't know him fed him teaspoons of water. You think about me, I'll do what is needed for you to survive. Now, Ramana Maharshi didn't have house, didn't have money, didn't have clothes. So nothing else needed to be looked after. Only his, the body needed to be looked after. But there's this really cute story of Sant Tukaram Maharaj. Tukaram Maharaj was a Vittal, Krishna, and he, everything was Vittal, 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 Vittal. We do that song, Vittala, and actually people like him, that's all they said all day long. Vittala, 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 Vittala. So he had a wife, he had children. His wife hated Krishna. I don't use the word lightly. Because full day, Tukaram Maharaj is saying Vittala, Vittala, Vittala. And she got married and wanted a husband, but this husband doesn't even look at her and just keeps singing Vittala, Vittala, Vittala. And then so angry she would get, literally like a jealous lover. Then worse, he wouldn't work. So now she's living in immense poverty. So there was this one incident where somebody gave him all these sugarcane rods and said, you've worked hard today, or you something, I have extra, take this. And as he's walking on the streets, children come up to him, in India, Chacha, Chacha, give me one. So he gave, give me one, give it. And by the time he got home, he didn't have any. And she's watching him walk down the street, giving the sugar cane to any kid that came up when her kids are sitting there waiting for their father to bring that sugar cane home so that they can have it. And she looked at him and she said, how could you give it away? And he said, with the last. So I gave. She took the broom and beat him. She would get that angry. So one day, she got him a job because they needed money, they needed the food for the kids. They really were very, very poor. So this merchant said, you don't have to do anything except the crops are growing. When the birds come, just shoo them away. Because the birds have gotten used to the scarecrow and they don't get scared of the scarecrow. So your only job is to shoo the birds away. That's all you have to do. So he's sitting and he's singing Vittala, Vittala, Vittala. And just like when those children came for the sugar cane, he saw Vittal. When the birds came, he thought, oh, Vittal is eating. And he couldn't bring it in himself to shoo the birds away. So a few hours later, the boss comes, full birds eating, and Tukaram sitting there, watching them with a smile on his face, singing Vittala, Vittala, Vittala. So of course he's fired on the spot. So again he goes home. Again the wife gets very angry with him. But the next day, the merchant comes with 2 bags of the grains, gives it to the wife, and said, I've never had such good sales. And the only thing different was Tukaram sitting. So this is his payment. But I was supposed to give him yesterday, and I didn't give him. And I don't want that karma. So his payment. You think of me, and I will look after you. We see it so beautifully in the lives of these great saints and sages. In ashram work, I've seen it 300 times in a week. Sometimes there'll be so much going on, and then there would be this very important phone call I had to make, maybe about accounts, or maybe some arrangement like this Bhaviyar camp, and I had to reconfirm the bus to take the kids. Something, logistics, not importance in terms of world peace, just something important in terms of logistics. And then I forgot. Somebody will remember. Or somebody will call and say, oh, I thought I should just reconfirm the bus, so that's done. And it would have slipped. It would have just disappeared from my thinking. Many a times when that happens, I think he alone is doing his work and he's proving it to me. You are doing nothing. But also it's looking after yoga and Shem. I had to maintain something. He maintained it. I have to acquire something. He acquires it. We're just hundreds and hundreds of stories we have seen of this. Even our own Siddhabari ashram, where our big, beautiful Hanumanji is, Gurudev used to go and give talks to the soldiers in the army. Because, Gita is taught in the battlefield. And so Gurudev had the strong desire that all our soldiers should learn it. Because Arjuna was a soldier, and so first and foremost, the soldiers should hear it before whatever battle they have to fight. And actually, if it's a Hindu officer in the Indian army, they all carry a pocket-sized Bhagavad Gita as part of their training. So if they're carrying it, Gurudev wanted them to know that started from the freedom fight. The freedom fighters used to all carry the Gita with them when they would fight for India's freedom. And so then that continued on with the soldiers in the army. And I don't know if they still do it, but during Gurudev's time, they definitely did it. And so Gurudev used to go and talk to the soldiers. And I guess he also had an affinity because he himself was a freedom fighter, so he knew what it was like. He was held prisoner also, so he knew what it was like, etc. And then Gurudev had wanted, we have our ashram in Bombay, but he had wanted something near the Himalayas because Taponji Maharaj is in the Himalayas, Gurudev lived in the Himalayas. He felt, even when he talks about Mother Ganga, he talks about her as his mother. He talks about Himalayas as father. And so that love, so it was just a desire in his heart. Need? No need. Desire to have something in the Himalayas. And the government gave Siddhabari as a thank you for Gurudev going and talking to the soldiers all the time. But it was barren land. The wind would blow too harsh, so nothing could grow there. And so Gurudev stood there, and the wind was blowing. And really, the wind can blow very hard. In Hong Kong, we know that because we've seen typhoons. So Gurudev said, okay, Pavan Devata, I will bring your son here. Then we'll see how angry you can get. And so before the ashram was built, Hanumanji came. And said, true to what Gurudev said, huh? If you've been to Siddhabari, it's lush. It's so many things grow. You think of me, whatever you need to acquire, whatever you need to maintain, I will take care. So I said there was a catch for one who has self-control. Many people will think of Bhagavan. The other day I was telling someone, they were upset about something, and I said, do your chalisas. And she said, how many times, Swamini? Because I am Marwari, we can finish it in 1.5 minutes. I thought, how fast you're doing Chalisa to finish it in 1.5 minutes? It's pretty cool, huh? Mm-hmm. But maybe if you're not saying it out aloud and if you're just saying it in your mind, you probably could do it that fast. So it's not that people don't think of Bhagwan or don't know it that so intuitively that I can say it so quickly. Lots of people think of Bhagwan. So why self-control? Because very often we think about Bhagwan to fulfill our desires. And the senses go outwards. In fact, in the Upanishads, it's written, senses will go outwards. And in Balvihar class, I always give this example. Otherwise, we'd be walking into walls. So senses have to go outwards. But that's not the only thing we use them for. If you walk the streets now, is it just me or is like coffee shop, bakery, coffee shop, bakery, coffee shop, bakery? Every other shop seems to have closed. It's not just me. Why only they survived? Because Taobao took over everything else. Because it's a sense indulgent. That's why they've survived. And our base instinct is to indulge. It's very interesting to know the meaning of words sometimes. What do you think cultured means? I've given you all a huge clue, but normally what do you think cultured means? I said, so-and-so is cultured. What does that mean to you? Oh, you all never thought about it. Very good. I'm doing my job. Please think. Uh-huh. I can see why you think that. What is culture? Proper.
Got the right knowledge.
Proper. They're doing it right. Same. Proper. What is culture?
In the way we treat people or interact with people, like there's a certain level of respect.
They have respect. Anything else? Mm. Right thinking. So our base desires are animal kingdom. Angry, push, hit. Hungry, eat. Don't like, somebody is mean to me, vengeance. Or cut them out. Sounding familiar? What's culture? Don't do that. Culture is when you don't give in to base instinct. Today now, scientists talk about reptile brain, this part, right, of our brain at the back. You've heard this term? I don't know if, anyway, they call it reptile brain. I'm sure that's not the scientific name for it. It's the part of us that will act on instinct. I'll give you another example. You are in a yoga class or you're in the gym, and what you're doing hurts. Instinct? Stop. Right? What should you do? Push them. Give you another example. You have some health element and you have to drink something which is extremely bitter and you don't like it. Instinct? Spit it out. What should you do? What's culture? Don't listen to instinct. What you should be listening to? Higher intelligence. We've lost a lot of culture. How have we lost culture? Food used to be prepared in our homes. 2 sabjis, 1 dal. Because there would be 14 people in the house, 15 people in the house, 16 people in the house, 25 people in the house, 35 people in the house. One big house it would be with so many people. What would get cooked? 2 sabjis, 1 dal. You all remember these days? No. 25 people you. You're so young. 25 people living in the house. Who would have decided the menu? 1 person. I rock up at the table. What will I do? Say prayer. Eat. Then thank whoever has cooked for me. Go. What do we do today? Why was that culture? Because I wasn't giving in to instincts. Were there days I got what I liked? Oh, sure. The person cooking knows also who likes what. It's not possible. The maid in your house knows your likes and dislikes very well. They will make sure everyone gets at least once what they like in the week. But they will also look at funds, what's affordable. They will also look at time. This is in season, this is not in season. They will also look at whatever all they have to look at. What's my job? Eat. Because I need to eat, not because I like it. Now it's different that it's served hot. They used to make sure it was served hot. Huh? In fact, it was like, don't eat cold. And don't talk. Sit quietly. Respect the food. Have gratitude. Eat it. Culture. Why? Because the mind is uplifted. What do we do today? All socializing around food. Why? Entertainment. It's not uplifted thinking. I enjoy. When else are you going to? Even in dinner, you're not allowing us to talk. We don't see each other the whole day. Then when will we talk? But we've created a world where we feel justified in indulging. What is cultured? Not indulged. So why is this here? Think of me and me alone. And you'll actually only be able to do that if we are self-controlled. Otherwise, we will be thinking about what we want. And if we do think about Bhagwan, it's so that we can continue to get what we want. The number of times I have heard people say to me, bless me, everything is all right. And my answer will be, you are blessed. I don't know if everything will be all right. Because that blessing cannot be given. And it's interesting we ask it. What would cultural ask be? Test question. Give me what's good. Give me acceptance. Yeah. Usually, traditionally, parents would teach, ask for manasya. Mind, mana, shuddhi, be clean. Let my mind be clean, which means all noble qualities. Patience, endurance, discipline, courage, fortitude. All that comes into manashuddhi. Or if you heard the Bhagavatam, give me bhakti. But actually, more than bhakti, I should have bhakti also. I need to have all these good qualities. So the ask culturally is never let everything be okay. That's why I said we've lost so much of our culture. Culturally, we wouldn't be scared of death. We'd be scared to do the wrong thing. Very different to thinking today. Today we're scared of death. And happily do the wrong things. Culturally, you wouldn't be scared of death because it's going to happen. When it happens, it will happen. Just like you wouldn't be scared it's going to rain. It's going to rain at some point. Take out umbrella. It's going to shine some days. Wear sun. Right? This is going to happen. I do this. This is going to happen. I do this. So, self-control is to ensure I am not living highly indulgent. Now, what I'm going to say next, many people don't like. In fact, there are ashrams that will deliberately not say this because people don't like it. So this is why Chinmaya mission is not popular. We say it. It's not popular. It's okay. We don't want popularity. We want to maintain what is authentic. Because sometimes I remember somebody was asking me, this social media, like if you advertise, it takes away stress, it does this, then you'll get so many people in your classes and your camp. And I said, I don't know if I can promise that. I don't know if I can promise I can take away your stress. You have to take away your stress. Swamiji, that doesn't work for marketing. So then we shouldn't market. We should market, but not use whatever works for marketing. Does that make sense? You cannot have one foot in two boats. Very painful. When we start out, we're scared to jump into one boat. So maybe we keep 1 foot here, 1 foot here. At some point, you have to decide which boat you're in. Or you end up in the water. What's the water? Samsara. What's the boats? Extroverted, indulgent living, introverted, devoted living. I warned you all, you're not going to like it. When Gautam Buddha's story is told, people love Gautam Buddha's story. What's Gautam Buddha's story? He was sitting on the banks dying because he had fasted so much that he was going to almost breathe his last. Just at that point, he heard a music teacher telling his students, if you tie the strings too tight, it will snap. If you tie the strings too loose, it won't create music. So you have to do not too much and not too little. People love this. What will they use it for? Alcohol. We shouldn't do too much, but Swamiji, we shouldn't do too little also. We should be balanced. People have used this argument with me for even gambling. What does not too much mean? I'm not going to answer. You all have to tell. Huh? There isn't a too much. There isn't a fixed matrix. Yes, sure. But when Gautam Buddha said not too much, not too little, what did he mean?
Take an instruction.
Very good. Fanaticism. Not using intelligence to make a decision and using just dogma would be too much. What you see being done in religion all the time. Yeah. What's too little? You have to give me example. Doing it our way. How much should we do? A little bit more than what we're comfortable with. But also, how much should we do? You're absolutely right. I've only taught you that. Little bit more than what we think we can do. But in this not too loose, not too tight, how much should we do? No. Enough. What's enough? That's what I'm asking you. You should know what's enough. There are 4 levels of truth. First level of truth, don't speak inaccurately, right? Stick to facts. Don't add masala. Second level of truth, once I've said it, I have to do it. Keeping my word, keeping my promise. Okay. Third level of truth, who remembers?
And whatever you think.
Correct. I have to live my convictions. If I believe it to be a good thing, I should do it. How much is enough? That's a huge clue. Come on, how much is enough? What should you be doing? Whatever you believe you should be telling. If you ever find yourself telling somebody else they should be doing this, please know. You're doing too little. You're not doing it. And it's interesting what we tell other people to do. So often, amongst friends, not even parents telling kids, don't be so judgmental. Be a bit more patient. You're being unreasonable. We say it all the time. Means, how much is enough? Way more than what we do. Not too loose, not too tight doesn't mean with alcohol. It means with our resolve. Our resolve should be strong enough that music comes out. And not so tight that we become unreasonable to other people. Quite tricky, huh? That's what not too loose, not too tight. So to help us understand this, Gurudev used to do this quote. With yourself, be firm. With others, be kind. Instinct is other way around. Instinct is to be firm with everybody else. You do this, and you should do this, and you should change this way, and you are not good this way. And with ourselves, I'm trying. Whereas we should flip it. With ourselves, be firm. With others, be kind. But Gurudev said this in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and the world has changed a lot. And not that I'd ever want to contradict anything Gurudev says. But in today's world, if you tell people to be firm with themselves, then, but shouldn't we love ourselves? We can't love other people if we don't love ourselves. And what about self-care? We need to take care of ourselves. So this quote I amend with Gurudev's blessings, hopefully. Be firm with yourself so you can be kind to others. We tend to think if we love ourselves, that's pampering ourselves. Loving ourselves is not pampering ourselves. Discipline is loving ourselves. I give you again super simple example. Is eating whatever I like loving myself? Or is having discipline to eat only half full, loving myself? Is loving myself just eating whenever I want? Or is loving myself being able to fast when I choose to and not when I choose to? Yet we think loving ourselves is doing what we want. That's not loving ourselves. Having discipline is loving ourselves because then we can really do. Having courage is loving ourselves. Having patience is loving ourselves because we'll talk and then we'll regret. And sometimes that regret can be very long. I spoke. Why didn't I just wait before I said that? Just speaking is not loving myself. But I should stand up for myself. No. Love yourself by not having that regret. Yesterday, these two very tall, young teenagers came with their grandmother and sat and chanted for 3 hours almost. And when they came to get prasad, I said, "Thank you." And they both looked at me very confused. For coming? I said, "No, it made no difference to me or not if you came." But it made a world of difference to your grandma. Thank you. But also, one day, you'll be so happy you did this. Regret is horrible. Loving ourselves is living in a way we don't regret. Not just doing what we want in that moment. So being firm with yourself is loving yourself. I'm not saying harsh. Firm is different to harsh. And so, Tesham Nitya Biyuktanam, think of me continuously and develop this mind where it is controlled. Then he does everything else. Because I am so privileged to see many people's lives, it's true not only for ashram. I have seen people's businesses get taken care of. I have seen people's kids get taken care of. Friendships, full households get taken care of. He really keeps his promise. And so here, it's very, think of me all the time, or think of me without wavering, and develop within yourself self-control, and I'll take care of everything. The verse sounds very absolute. So if I don't think of him all the time, he's not going to look after me. And if I'm not completely self-controlled, he's not going to look after me. The verse is written that way so that we cannot fault him. Krishna doesn't allow for loopholes. But I have seen it work even when we're not so single-pointed. And I have seen it work even when we're not so self-controlled. If he sees sincerity in our effort, and this bit's important, little bit effort has to be, then he looks after. Even if circumstances in the world change phenomenally, he looks after. Maybe not always in the way we wanted, but we are looked after. Or sometimes it's not in the way we think it should be, but we looked after. Because we don't always understand the difference between what I want and what I need. His promise is to give us what we need. But like I said, very often it's also what I want. You know, here in Hong Kong ashram, people still send bhikshas, and so I'm so very blessed. Sometimes in America, they don't get bhikshas as often because, you know, distances and dual income families and things like that. And then some days, something will come and I'll think, why it came? Either there's too much has come, or that's something I very obviously don't eat. And people now know that I don't eat it. But it still comes. And sometimes it's interesting. The person who gives it to me will say also, I know you don't like it, but I just brought it. And then somebody will walk into the ashram and they'll be starving, and that's their favorite. Or pregnant woman walks into ashram and she's been craving this for the last 3 months. Mm-hmm. And it's just sitting on my table, ashram table. It happens weekly, like not once, twice. It's happened so many times. And now sometimes when something comes to the ashram and I haven't asked for it and it's just randomly arrived, I'll even know now who it's come for. And I'll just wait. Doorbell will ring and I'll say, I was expecting you. And they're like, I didn't call. I didn't tell you I was coming. I'm like, yeah, but your Dayavara is here. So please come. It's crazy how many times that has happened. And not only with food, I've had people come, during COVID this happened also, people were leaving Hong Kong. And they left like 2 bags of towels, brand new towels. And she's like, I'm a hoarder, what to do? But I'm not taking this with me to whichever country they're going to. So can you somebody will come, Swamini ji, and off they go. And truly somebody comes. And why they need 2 bags of towels, I don't know, but they needed it. It's happened with food more often, but it's happened with so many things. It's even happened with murtis. I was in Bombay once, and somebody was crying because this was the murti their mother had worshipped for 60 odd years. And then they weren't able to keep it with them, and they didn't know what to do with it. I know you're wondering why can't they keeping it with them? Sometimes the countries, they go like Dubai never used to allow at one point. There would have been some circumstance. so terribly heartbroken. And Guruji will say, leave it here with me. I'll pray to it. And literally, while that person is still in the room, somebody else will have come, young couple, saying, Guruji, we're moving into our new house and we came to get your blessings. And then after this, we're going to go buy a murti. And we were looking for, and it will be exactly the murti that's come. Like literally. And this person will see the home that the murti is going to, and they'll feel that their mother has blessed this young couple, and they will keep in touch and become very good friends. What we need, 100%, but even what we desire. Just some effort on our part. That one day my thinking will be unwavering. And if needed, I can give up whatever I need to give up. Because whatever I'm giving up is so small. Because what am I getting in return? Infinite. Just think of whatever it is you are holding on to. Why aren't you waking up earlier and doing your japa? The bed is so cozy. Why aren't you being more patient? Because that person's so irritating. Why aren't you being more courageous? Because it's so scary. This fear, this irritableness, this comfort, how big is it compared to infinity? At least want to give it up. Kal Yuga, even wanting to give it up counts. And we in Kal Yuga now. And if you die before giving it up and you're born again in Satyug, wanting to give it up doesn't count. You'll get no bonus points in Satyug for wanting to give it up. But in Kal Yuga, even wanting to give it up counts. So, why is this verse so popular? Because it's a promise. He will give us whatever we need, and often what we want. But most people forget that very important bit. Self-control. He's going to help us even if we don't have the self-control. Imagine how much more if we do. I pause here for today. Any questions?
Swamini I have a question.
Yes.
So I often struggle with this. I know you've talked about it in different classes, but when you know that there is a situation, if you walk into it, it's only going to bring you inner turmoil, imbalance, negativity, and you avoid it. You're not. I mean, it's a decision. It's a choice that you've made. Uh, I'd like to think intelligently, but then when you talked about being cultured and cutting out is not.
Correct.
So where's the line? How do you draw the line?
We draw the line. There is no line. And today we draw the line too close to comfort.
Okay.
So often walking away or avoiding a situation is running away. Maybe I don't feel ready yet. The yet is an important part of that statement. If I'm just walking away to never ever deal with it, it's running away. So there's two instances I'm going to give you. Krishna was born and he didn't have to fight with Kamsa straight away. The whole universe conspired. The jail cell opened. The guards fell asleep. Vasudeva walked through the Yamuna river and reached Gokul, where Nanda Baba was waiting. And Krishna grew up in the loving care of Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maya. And even though he had to fight some asuras, he didn't have to fight Kamsa just yet. At the age of 16, he left Vrindavan and all that pampering and all that protection and went and faced Kamsa. So we can remove ourselves until we are strong enough. And in the time we remove ourselves, we can build ourselves up in skill, in virtues, in strength, in strategy, in whatever way we need to build ourselves up. And then we should be able to face it.
Okay.
The second scenario I'll give you is Arjuna wanted to run away from the battlefield, and Krishna said, nothing doing. You've been trained. Stand here and fight. In both the examples, you have to face whatever it is you have to face. I'll also add to this. If you don't face it this life, next life, it comes with interest. You're not going to escape it by dying. Whatever we have to face is usually to teach us something about ourselves. Sometimes we have to learn courage. Sometimes we have to learn acceptance. Sometimes we have to learn detachment. Sometimes we have to learn resilience. Sometimes we have to learn to stand up for ourselves. Sometimes we have to learn to accept and endure. Sometimes it's hard to know which one we have to learn. But when a situation reoccurs and reoccurs and reoccurs, it's telling you this is what you have to learn. Last thing I'll say. The dread of facing it is often worse than facing it. Like when you have to go for injection. I saw the cutest reel about this doctor who had to give injections to babies. And so he keeps lots of toys and then he's singing and he puts it and then he starts playing all these musical instruments and the kid gets so confused if they don't cry. Because how long is the injection, right? Of course, it's going to hurt a little bit, poor baby. But it's not. But without all the distractions, the kid will cry and cry and cry and cry. And then the mother cries, so then the kid's just going to cry more. The dread of it, the anticipation of the pain, often is worse than what the actual pain is. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhavantu asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya,
with your mom.
Om Purnamada Purnamudachyate Om Sham Sham Shanti Hari Om Shri Guru Hari Om